Howdy y'all, Jeremy here. On today's bonus episode of Taxpayer Talks, we have on a special guest, Thomas McNutt. Thomas is a business owner, conservative activist, and former candidate for the Texas House of Representatives. We get his thoughts on fighting for fiscal sanity at the local level, among several other issues. Let's get into it. Taxpayer Talks is brought to you by Texans for Fiscal Responsibility, and it's only made possible from generous donations from listeners like you. If you want to support our work, you can visit texastaxpayers.com/donate to make a tax-deductible contribution today. Thank you.
Hey everyone, welcome to this special episode of Taxpayer Talks. My name is Tim Harden, president of Texans for Fiscal Responsibility. We are here with our executive director, Jeremy Kitchen. How you doing today, Jeremy?
I'm doing okay.
Good to hear it. And we have a special guest, Thomas McNutt, with us today. How are you doing today, Thomas?
Never better, Tim. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, we're excited to have you. We're going to talk taxes today. But before we do that, not all of our listeners might know who you are. So could you kind of briefly explain what you do, your history in politics, and kind of, how you got where you are today?
Yeah, sure. I am Tim Harden's bodyguard and driver, and just kidding. Get his laundry, and take his dog to the vet and the groomer and stuff. No, I'm just kidding. So my name is Thomas McNutt, and I'm very, very blessed and very proud, quite frankly, to be the fourth generation owner operator here at the Collins Street Bakery in Corsicana, Texas. We're about to celebrate our 126th Christmas in business as a Texas family-owned business, and so we're fighting the good fight here in rural Texas. The way I met many of my brothers and sisters in the liberty conservative movement was a few years ago. Looked up and had a state representative who more or less was caucusing with and doing more business with the Democrats than the Republicans, and acted like a Republican at home, but voted like a Democrat in Austin. And so somebody needed to step up and challenge that person. So we did it. And this person was one of the more wealthy, powerful chairmen in the state house. And the average state house at the time campaign cost about $180,000. Both campaigns spent over $2 million. It was one of the more high profile campaigns of that cycle, and we were supposed to get clobbered. I was 24, 25 when I announced, and they said he's got no prayer against the chairman. So 10,000 doors later, and a ton of volunteers and a ton of prayers and donations and stuff on election night, instead of getting clobbered, out of 30,000 votes, we lost by 222.
Yeah,
we were so close.
Yeah.
And anyway, and so that's kind of where it all started. And then I've been trying to be involved and things of that nature ever since. So I ran against that gentleman again. He dropped out of the race several months in. A couple other people got in because all of a sudden it was an open seat, and we got second place and did make the runoff, but didn't get. And the gentleman who's there now has a much better voting record than the gentleman I set out to run against. And I think on the Rice University survey, Cody Harris, my state representative, who's a friend of mine and a good guy, I think he's top 20, every session. So huge improvement. And I'm very, very glad to be doing what I'm doing. So, yeah, but that's who I am. And then I'm a husband and a dad to 2 so far, Lord willing, and that we'll maybe have some more. And then I sell fruitcakes for a living. I couldn't help. Here's the moneymaker. Hold on. There it is. It's the moneymaker. Pays the bills.
Right. He's not a fruitcake. He sells fruitcakes, right?
A little bit, yeah. Well,
maybe a little bit of both.
In my family, fruitcake is a term of endearment, Tim.
And to be clear, you sell them worldwide, right?
Yeah. We do. Almost 200 countries now. So
yeah, when Jeremy and I worked in the Capitol, it was one of the blessings we actually, y'all I think gifted, right? For a while there, to a lot of people in the Capitol. And so it's fruitcake day. Everybody gets excited in the Capitol. So The Collins Street Bakery's name precedes itself. So we are happy to have you here, Thomas. On the election note, Harris has been a vast improvement over it was Cook, right? Who was
it was Byron Cook,
yep.
Right, and now it's Cody Harris. And
and so if a seat ever opens up again, I just want to let you know that usually third time's a charm, brother. So if you ever have an inkling or feel called, just want to remind you of that.
You tell my wife and my business partners.
That's the hard thing to overcome, right? Well, we want to talk about local taxes today. And so, we've had a couple conversations over email and things like that, you dealing with some of the local taxes, property taxes and things like that. And so I want you to kind of briefly tell what's going on in your area and how you interacted with that as an activist, and just kind of tell a story of what's going on in your local, political subdivisions in Texas.
Yeah, you bet. So, and I'll try to be brief. I'm in a rural county, 25,000 people in the town, 50,000 people in the county, more or less. Awesome place to live, Corsicana, Texas. The main message that I want everybody to hear, and your listeners are super astute people, okay, they get this, but just in case, your local officials have the final say on your property tax bill, period. And they'll blame the state, and they'll blame the appraisal district, and they'll blame COVID, and they'll blame climate change and all kind of stuff. But your city council, and most importantly, your school board are the ones deciding your final property tax bill. Okay, your county commissioners, those people. So in a county like this, we're real blessed. This is a community. You go to the supermarket, you see people and they're checking up on you, right? So I've got good friendships and relationships with my county judge and my county commissioners and my city council folks and the school. I know these people, and the tempting thing is to just keep it friendly and not go to tough stuff. But you know what? Politicians sign up to receive pressure. That's how it was designed. And so if I'm being selfish and just want my relationship to be good and be Mr. Popular, well, then stay away from applying pressure. But the truth is that, the Lord gave me relationships with these folks, and to what much is given, much is required.
Amen.
And so I feel like it's my responsibility to say, hey, such and such, Mr. Commissioner, I love you, man. You're a good, honest guy. But your constituents don't just get to push a button and get a 3.5% raise every 12 months. Right. And so you can affect that, and you can sacrifice along with us. And so that's what we did in Navarre County. Me and my buddy, 𝗧𝗔𝗫𝗣𝗦, who's on the city council, does an awesome job. He's a guy who you need to talk to about running for something. Okay. But anyway, we reached out to the people we knew in these positions, say, hey, your votes are coming up. Really ask you, in these crazy economic times, help your neighbors and your friends, people you go to church with, vote for the no new revenue rate. And I know your costs are up too. So at the very least, don't take all you can get. Will you meet us somewhere in the middle? And we took that message to our friends on the school board, to our friends on the city council, our friends at the county. And the city did great. Thanks to 𝗧𝗧𝗫𝗏, we are in the second consecutive year of the city collecting less property taxes by percentage, by dollar, by everything in Corsicana, Texas. And then the school district, they took down more on the INS side than they had to, which I appreciated and thanked them for. And then at the county, it would have been a unanimous vote, just take all we can get. So we applied mega pressure, and though we did not win, it was a 2-2 vote, and we got 2 people to vote against the voter approval rate. County judge did the tiebreaker, and they went with that voter approval rate. But we saw it as a victory, that we raised awareness about it. We got 2 guys to vote against it, and then one of the gentlemen who voted for it, to his credit, at the end said, hey guys, next year I will I will support the no new revenue rate, or it'll make it a goal. So anyway, that's what we've done. And those guys who voted against it, man, I still see them at church, in the supermarket, and I still tell them, hey, support you, as a person, but are going to be honest with you about, trying to hold you accountable and doing what the people want you to do.
Thomas, I appreciate you being on, man. I think your story, right, is it represents what Tim and I talk about pretty frequently, whether it's on this podcast or when we write about it, which is, unfortunately, I think a lot of people ignore local politics, right? To our own peril, to be honest, right? I mean, the sexiest topics are things that we see on, national news, right? Media corporate news sort of thing, whether it's Fox News, anything else. We constantly want to talk about the presidential election, things like that. But, we try to make the argument that, if you can influence anything in our political process, it's certainly at the local level. And seemingly by your story, it seems like y'all did that. Did you get much, if any, pushback from your local elected officials on some of the stuff throughout the process?
Yeah, I mean, not to name names of my friends and colleagues, but yeah, I mean, I may be minus a few Christmas cards this year, but that's okay. You know what I mean? We are not supposed to, make what other people think of us and our popularity. That really shouldn't be a part of our calculus when doing what's right, but no, the answer to your question is yes. I probably notched down a few popularity points with a couple people, but I see them, and I try to be real transparent with them and say, hey man, none of this is personal. And next year you do the right thing. One of the guys, when they did the right thing, I was so proud of them for voting, putting their name on the line, voting for something that wasn't popular. So I donated to their campaign. I was like, you're the kind of guy I want to support. And he was like, man, you don't have to do that. I was like, I know I don't have to do that, but but you're someone who I want to support.
Good. So advice for folks, you kind of already plugged in politically, right? You have a lot of friends who are in these local political subdivisions. What would be your advice for kind of normal everyday taxpayers that might not be as plugged in as you on how they can engage with local governments and protest taxes or fight against tax increases? What would be your best advice for them?
You bet, man. I got two pieces of advice, and they both work, because I'm not tight with everybody. You know what I mean? Open forum works. Open forum works. So look up, call whoever, look up online, find out when these important, crucial votes are. Set calendar reminders once a year in advance. Hey, property tax fights are coming, or whatever it is, so you can get in on those. But show up. That works. And let me give you an example. If 4 people show up to open forum, and they're used to having no people show up to open forum, you know what those elected officials are going to be saying for the next week? Man, all these people showed up. Everybody, you know what I'm hearing a lot, and it's only 4 people, but like proportionally to the norm, it makes an impact. So open forum works. You ain't got to be connected for that. And the other thing is, you know what else works and is a lost art? Is this right here, a little secret weapon. Little pen and a note.
Yeah. And
you can write these people a handwritten note. And I would just encourage you to be respectful, and just I try not to push on people, but I try to pull on people. Come on, man, come our way. But that's effective. And leave your cell phone number. Say, I'd be honored if you give me a call back to talk further. And then the people who do what's right, donate to their campaigns and tell them thank you and write them a thank you note. I wrote thank you notes to everybody who voted in that county commissioner fight. I wrote thank you letters to the guys who did the right. So.
I assume it's been a while since I've been throughout Corsicana, Thomas, so forgive me. But I assume, I mean, like anywhere else in Texas, granted it's not as urban, right, as some of the larger places, but I assume it's growing, right, in some respect. Yeah. So, with that growth, right, maybe not the pushback, the feedback we've gotten from local elected officials that happen to see either one of our articles or things we talk about when we talk about property taxes is obviously we need more revenue for the infrastructure, for for all of these things. And of course, like we always like to talk about, well, you're already getting more property tax revenue, right? The no new revenue rate itself it just equalizes, if you will, based on that. Did you find any local elected officials who maybe they understood it, but I'm not gonna put that on them. Maybe they didn't understand what that was, or maybe were a little, you don't have to name names, but were disingenuous or wanting to be disingenuous when they talked about it?
I don't know about disingenuous. These guys are trained by the Texas Municipal League, the Texas Association of Counties, the Texas Association of School Boards, and they go and and they get propagated. Okay. And so they're trained, to go shake the money tree, right? Which is you and I's wallet. So I don't know if it's disingenuous, but you definitely heard a lot of look, who you need to call, is the governor. Your issues with the state, not with us, and you need to go to the appraisal district. We're just, so there's a whole lot of this going on, right? I don't know if that answers your question. We did, but Navarro County had, one of the commissioners said multiple times is we had over $1 billion of additional appraised values year over year in this county. Over 1 billion. And for us, it's huge. And so it's like, okay, well, great. Then that means that the tax base should be spread out and you shouldn't have to take the most you can possibly take. And that was our message so much. It was, hey, fine, costs are up, you need a raise, that's fine, but don't go and grab as much as you're possibly allowed without going to the voter. And real quick, this is something else that I said a lot, because what you'd say is, we're only going up 2.5%. 3.5%. We're only going up. The college can do 8%, but costs are up 20%. Costs are up 15%. So actually, we're giving it. So something that I said that, believe it or not, was not very popular was, well, goodness, gentlemen, if costs are up 15%, then why don't you raise it 15% and take it to the voter? Don't you trust your constituents? Go out there, make your case. If that's what you need, then put it forward. Why are you doing the most possible without having to go to the voter?
Yeah,
that's an interesting number to pick. Is that your needs, or is that just you don't want to have to go to your constituents and ask?
Yeah. It would be nice if we could lower that voter approval rate to like 0, right? Where they had to go to voters every single time they wanted to raise rates at all. But I want to shift gears on you for this last question, because we don't get a whole lot of opportunity to talk to successful business owners. And so we talk a lot about property taxes.
It's just me. It's just me.
Just you. But I want to, as a business owner, obviously we're looking to reform taxes in a lot of different ways. Is there any current policies that are hurtful towards your business, or any kind of business oriented policies like franchise tax or any like that you would advocate for that would make it a even healthier business climate in Texas?
The business personal property tax, if you talk to pretty much any business owner, I mean, they're going to tell you that it just feels very arbitrary and very random and very inconsistent. I'm not an expert on the business property tax, but I got a buddy who has a very successful Christian counseling psychology clinic, and he's grown and done great stuff. And he owns furniture in the waiting room, and he owes a huge tax bill for his furniture in his building. I mean, so that, I look, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but when you enter the marketplace to buy or sell, if there's a tax there, there's a choice, right? But property taxes are rent to the government, right? I own my land and I never have to stop apparently paying my rent to the government. And so anyway, I know I'm preaching to the choir there. But the thing that I'm most excited about for this next legislative session, and I don't know the specific bill numbers on either side, but it is buy down the M&O portion of the property tax, which you guys talk about. I mean, y'all are my prime news source on this stuff. And so that's what I'm most excited about. And I'm glad it's getting so much support. So
we're definitely excited about it. I mean, having the governor, right, say basically as much, right, in the sole gubernatorial debate a few weeks ago was,
Right.
I think, a positive step in the direction. We'll hopefully keep his feet to the fire, and we'll see if he actually makes it a priority. But we're very hopeful at least something is done on that this next go around for sure.
No doubt.
Awesome. Well, Thomas, that is our time today. We appreciate you being with us. And of course, keep up the fight at the local level. And I'm sure I'll see you down in Austin at some point during the legislative session. Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas to you if I don't talk to you before then. And we appreciate you being with us.
Thanks, guys. We should not make, a podcast our excuse to get together and chat like this.
Yeah.
So,
right.
but anyway, great to see you both. And thank you guys. And let me tell the audience, these two dudes could be crushing it in a lot of different jobs, different roles, a lot of more selfish gain kind of stuff. And they choose to apply their intellect and their time and their efforts on behalf of us. Okay. So thank you guys for what you're doing, and please don't stop.
Man, that sounds like he needs to do our next donor pitch, Jeremy.
That's right. Yeah.
Give me their number. I'll call them.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate
Buy
it.
a fruitcake.
For even more content, follow us on social media at Texas Taxpayers on Facebook and Instagram, at Texas_taxpayers on Twitter. Subscribe to the Fiscal Note, our weekly email jam-packed full of information important to Texas taxpayers at texastaxpayers.com/subscribe. And then make sure to check out our Texas Prosperity Plan, texastaxpayers.com/TPP. Thanks. Hey, you made it to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so that way you're notified next time we post a video and update to the channel. Thanks again.